या लैप वेल्डिंग में क्या है? वी हैव प्लग वेल्ड, you have slot weld. Hmm. What is there in plug weld? So plug weld is made by welding. Basically, you made by creating some holes which are evenly spaced across the length of one or both sides of the joint, right? So if you are thinking of this plug welding, uh, this will be something like this. So if I draw the front view, so there you have created that uh, hole over there, right? So in sectional view, how does it look like? So will create a hole over there. It should be hidden, right? So this is my section. Now, how will it look like for slot? You're basically creating some slot over there, you know. So slot weld is basically similar to the plug weld, except you are basically you are making some slots instead of holes, right? Uh, Other welds that may be also applied to labs. Uh, you can have seam welding, you can have projection welding. So you can have seam welding, you can have projection welding also. Till now, any question? Just feel free to ask. No question. Okay. So let's move to the corner joint then. We have covered those T joint, lap joint, butt joint. There is this corner joint also, right? So a corner joint is formed by placing one piece to be welded on another so that a corner is formed, as simple as that. So it will look something like this. You're creating a corner, you know. Now, what are there in corner in terms of classification, of course? So there is something called flush corner, there is something called half open corner, there is something called fully open corner, right? Now, what is this kind of corner joint?
Close.
It's close. We call it flush corner joint, right? If it is like this, so let's remove this portion. I will take the hatch portion. It will call fully open corner. And if it is somewhere in between, so it is taking time. I'm sorry for that. I have to use the tab next time. So this is in between corner, right? So I'm hatching over there. What will be this called?
Half plus.
A flush. Correct. Here also you can have those bevel corner, you can have bevel corner outside, you can have V group corner, you can have J group corner, U group corner. So every kind of joints you want to prepare, you can do some kind of edge preparations in each of those cases, right? Then what else is there except corner joint? there is edge joint, right? Edge joint was also there. Now again, how this edge joint is formed? An edge joint is formed when two edges of the pieces to be welded come together. So if this is something like this is something like this, you are basically allowing those two edges to come together, and it will make some weld, and it is uh, because you are basically allowing those two edges or of those pieces to weld together. This is called edge joint, right? Here also you can uh, do some edge preparation over there. You can have, so this is called square groove, right? Now what will be this called? So let's say I am having some edge like this, like this. So I have made some kind of beveling over there. So this is a bevel groove, right? This will be a, what is this? This is a J groove. This is a U groove, right? No, I don't think there should be any confusion over here. So we have butt joint, we have fillet joint. You can basically combine uh those fillet and butt joint over there. So your butt joint will look like something like this, and your fillet will look something like, it is taking a lot of time. Anyhow, if you are doing welding in such a way that you combine these two configuration, that is called compound weld, right? It's kind of hybrid kind of thing. So you are both making uh, butt as well as fillet over there, right? Now, yeah. So based on this shape and based on the shape of these configurations, you can have different kinds of name of that weld joint, right? You can have fillet welded T joint, you can have butt welded joint, you can have fillet welded butt joint, you can have compound welded butt joint. Uh, so, of course, it depends on how it is looking like. Uh, those things I'm not going into detail. Uh, Anyhow, those things are there. And then finally, what we will come to the parts of the welded joint, right? So till now we have covered those introductory things, the classifications, then we have covered those age preparations, uh, different kinds of joints, and then we will come to this. Finally, we'll come to those parts of a welded joint. Now, give me some name of what can be those different kinds of parts of a weld joint. What are there? Few of the names, please.
root gap, root face, groove angle.
Right, right, right. Good. So, in terms of parts of a weld, you have those uh, groove face, of course. You can have root face, root edge. What is your name, man?
Sahil,
Sahil. Uh, except Sahil, can anybody please respond? I'm expecting everyone to respond. Okay, okay. So, yeah, in terms of parts of a weld joint, anyhow, we are recapitulating the things what you have already covered in that earlier week lecture videos, right? So, yes, a little bit will be from my side. Uh, Anyhow, so in terms of parts of a welded joint, you have uh, joint root, you have root phase, root edge, root opening. What else? Bevel angle, yeah, bevel angle. Then you can have groove angle. then you can have groove radius. So those parts are there. Now, how a joint root will look like? How a joint root will look like? So, what is a joint root? So, this is a portion of a joint uh, where the members are closest to each other. So if my joint is looking something like this, so I have to draw a 3D view. Got it, no? So this is my that joint root where the members are closest to each other. Now, this joint root can be an area, it can be a line also, right? Depending on what is your overlapped region. And yeah, you can create in butt configuration, you can create in flap configuration also. So in terms of 2D, this will look, so let's say I'm making some bevel kind of thing. So this is my joint root portion. No? The members which are closest to each other in terms of square. This is my region where the members are closest to each other. So that is called joint root. Now, what is groove face? What is groove face or root face? So groove face is, this is the surface of the member which is included in the groove. So basically this surface can be a groove surface. This surface also can be a groove surface. At the backward portion, that can also be a groove surface. And the surface which is a portion of the groove face within the joint root. You know? So this surface will be my root surface. So you can say that root surface is a subset of a groove surface. Correct? Now, if this is a surface, then you call it surface. If it is a line contact, then you call it a root edge. So if this is a line contact, it will be called as root edge. So yeah, I talked about root phase, I talked about root edge. So again, in terms of 2D, this edge will be called root edge. This edge will be called root edge. In 3D, when it will generate those surfaces, it will be root surface. Then then comes this angles. So you have those bevel angles or groove angles. Now, bevel angle is the angle between the bevel of a joint member and plane uh, which is perpendicular to that surface of the member. So if this is a beveling done like this, so this is my angle which is perpendicular to this surface will be called as bevel angle. So let's say theta is my bevel angle, right? Now what is groove angle? This is the total included angle. If you are having some grooves like let's say you are having some grooves like this, what this joint is called? What is this kind of joint? I already told.
But teacher,
But what kind of butt joint? This is a single bevel, right? This is a single bevel butt joint. Now, if you are doing like this is a double bevel butt joint, right? Depending on those geometrical feature, you have to uh, identify what is this kind of joint is this. है ना? Now, if this is a single bevel butt joint, this is my groove angle, and also at the same point of time this is the bevel angle also, right? Because this is the perpendicular to this uh, plane, right? So for single bevel butt joint, for single bevel butt joint, what is there? Bevel angle will be equal to groove angle. Understood? Till now, any question? So if things are going very good, we'll move to next part. You have those the other components of a weld joint. You can have root opening. I don't. Yeah, my figure over here. So you have root opening, which is the separation between the workpiece at the joint root. So if this was the root edge, this will be my this distance will be my root opening. है ना? This distance will be my root opening. Then you'll have groove radius, which is just by the name you can understand that this is some kind of arc radius of a weld joint. Uh, if you are making some kind of arc over there, so it can be during the J group, it can be during the U group. So those are the arc radius which you are generating. That is called groove radius. Correct? Yeah. So if we talk about some kind of butt joint, let's say this is professor has also covered this thing. I'm just making it once again. So just give me those names. What is this? This distance? What is this distance between those two root edge?
Root opening.
This is root gap. Okay, this is root gap. This is my root face or root edge. What is this angle?
Bevel angle.
This is bevel angle. What is this angle? The complete included angle. This is
Groove angle.
groove angle. Correct. So this is true for double bevel joint. If you are having some U joint also, that is fine for you. That should be fine for you, right? Should not be that tough. So over here you cannot have some bevel angle. Of course, you can have those groove angle as such. So you should make some tangents like this. The total included angle is my U groove angle. What is this? The radius, arc radius is the groove radius. Enough. And over here you have this root gap. So those things are there to identify from a figure. Then I have talked about those T joints also. Now in T joints also there are different names in terms of if you are doing some filleting over there. So if you are doing some filleting over there, let's say I have done some fillet over there, right? I have done some fillet. Now what is this phase called? This is face of the weld, right? The face of the weld. Now this will be called this length, right? This vertical length of this triangle. One will be called leg 1, one will be called leg 2. That's how we identify things from a drawing, right, of a well structure. Now, what are these called? Can anyone mention what are these 2 points called?
Toe.
Those are the toe of the fillet well. So that is my toe. And what is this thickness? So let's say I have created a 90-degree from that corner. What is this thickness or this length called?
Throat.
This is my throat thickness. Very good. Okay. So those are some features from fillet weld. Now, as I was mentioning, for a single bevel groove weld, the bevel angle and the groove angle that have to be equal. And for this J or U groove weld, the weld configuration is normally specified by both angle and radius also. So there are a lot of age preparation examples like, so I hope this will be easy to understand from the figure how you are identifying the things. What is my joint, U joint or V joint or J joint, or yeah, depending on that configuration, or this is single V or double V or single bevel or double bevel. So those things are there. Now in terms of single and double sided edge preparations, so of course, whenever you do things, you have some reason. Uh, Otherwise, why do you do that? Now, for single V, that kind of edge preparation are normally made for thinner materials. Now, when you have some access from so when you do not have some access from both sides, at that point of time, those single side edge preparation is done. Now, for double, that is normally made for thicker materials when you have some access from the both sides of that weld material. I'm not going into draw the things. Yeah, you have those single and double sided edge preparation. So you have single V, single J, double V, double J, single bevel, double bevel. So yeah, now if you are thinking of a double V butt joint, so if you are thinking of a, let's say I have, sorry, hold on. So if we have, let's say I am having a single bevel butt joint and I am having a double bevel butt joint. So what are the advantages of double butt joint over there? So a double V butt joint will it will basically reduce the amount of welding metal deposit by almost one half in comparison to single V butt joint, right? So yeah, it basically reduces the amount of distortion also because you are reducing the weld metal volume over there. Now a double V butt joint may require the joint to be turned over to complete the other side. So basically, you should have access on the both sides to create the welds on both sides, right? So in double V, it you may require to turn over the complete material to get the access of the other side. So yeah, so those are there for single and double V sided edge preparations. You have reduced weld distortion. You have those reduced weld metal volume. So those are the advantages of double V. Now in terms of those J and U group, what are the advantages? So for J and U group joints, they give kind of more uniform and even distribution of the weld metal deposition, right? So That is why the distortion or residual stress will be less at for U and J joint. So these are some what should I say? They should have known for you whenever you do some edge preparation. Now on thicker sections, they require less weld metal again because they require less weld metal. They reduce the distortions. They save the welding cost. Uh, yeah, those things are there. So if you're thinking of this, let's say I'm having a J or U joint, will create an uniform distribution over there compared to a joint which is double bevel in nature. So over here, it will the weld metal volume will look like this. So if you are having a neutral axis over here, oh, at the top of that neutral axis, you will have more mass of the weld metal. At the bottom portion of this neutral axis, you will have less mass of the weld metal. And because of depending on your volume, whenever the metal is getting solidified, uh, you will have some kind of different shrinkage force, right? So there is something called shrinkage force, shrinkage force, and depending on your non-uniformity in the weld metal volume, your shrinkage force will be different, and because of that, you'll end up with some kind of residual stress over there. Yeah. Till now, any question, please? No question? Okay. So yeah, one more thing I want to mention, there is some disadvantages in J and U groove is that something called lack of sidewall fusion, right? This also has been mentioned during your lecture video. Lack of sidewall fusion because of the nature of the geometry of this J and U group. है ना? Yeah. One more thing is that one more thing is that let me go to again the new one. So the root gap, which is used for this electrode accessibility to the root of the joint. So smaller the group angle, what will be the root gap? Smaller the root angle. Let's say I am having a smaller angle. Your root gap should be larger or less compared to the larger angle. From the figure, at least you can mention. Hmm? Anybody? Okay. Smaller the groove angle, larger will be the root gap, greater will be weld penetration